Nautical Institute Sri Lanka branch youth forum මගින් පවත්වපු මිනි වෙබිනාර් එක. එහෙම නැත්නම් Nautical Institute එකේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ශාඛාවේ තරුණ එකමුතු මගින් පවත්වපු කෙටි සම්මන්ත්‍රණ මාලාවේ පළවන සම්මන්ත්‍රණය. පළවන මිනි වෙබිනාර් එක සඳහා ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමක් කරන ලෙස මට ආරාධනාවක් ලැබුණා. ඒ ආරාධනාවට අනුව ඉදිරිපත් කළ මාතෘකාවට අනුව මම යම් කෙටි ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමක් ඒ කාල රාමුවට ගැලපෙන්න ඉදිරිපත් කළා. එම මිනි වෙබිනාර් එකේදී මාගේ ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමෙන් පසුව ඒ සහභාගී වන අයට ඔවුන්ට ඇති ගැටලු ප්‍රශ්න ඉදිරිපත් කර ඒ පිළිතුරු ලබා ගැනීමටත් අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දී තිබුණා. එම අවස්ථාවට මාත් සමග තවත් නාවික හමුදාවට සම්බන්ධ කප්තාන්වරයෙක් සහ වෙළඳ නාවික ක්ෂේත්‍රයට සම්බන්ධ කපිතාන්වරයෙකුත් සහභාගී වුණා. එතකොට මේ මිනි වෙබිනාර් එකේ මම ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම මා වෙනම රෙකෝඩ් කරගත්තා. ඒ රෙකෝඩින් එක තමයි මම පෙන්වන්නේ. ඒකට Microsoft Teams footage එක නෙමෙයි. ඒ වගේම මේදී අඩංගු කරලා තියෙන්නේ අප ඉදිරිපත් කළ ප්‍රශ්න සහ ඒ ප්‍රශ්න සඳහා මා ලබා දුන් පිළිතුරු පමණයි. අනෙක් දෙදෙනාට ඉදිරිපත් කළ ප්‍රශ්න හෝ ඔවුන් ඒ ප්‍රශ්න සඳහා දුන් පිළිතුරු මෙහි අඩංගු කළ නැහැ. මේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන් මම විසින් රෙකෝඩ් කළ එම වෙබිනාර් අතරතුරම මා කළ රෙකෝඩින් එකක ෆුටේජ් එක පමණයි. විශේෂයෙන් බ්‍රිජ් එකේ වොච් එකක් කරද්දී මේ කතා කරපු කාරණා ගොඩක් උදව් වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Welcome to the first mini webinar of Nautical Institute Sri Lanka branch. The webinar series is named as Office of the Watch: How to support the mast on the bridge, when and how to speak up. I welcome Captain Don Samarakpadi, who will be our delivery person. He is a very college old boy, and then he has entered the Serenaka, joined CINEC as training officer at the fourth batch. He has had relationship management throughout his career, and currently he is a master of 12 years accounting. Captain Don Samarakpadi, the floor is for you. We are hoping to learn from you and gain some valuable knowledge. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Over to you, sir.
Hello Mario, and good evening. Good evening everybody. So when we consider supporting master on the bridge, what we understand mostly is supporting the master as the officer of the watch. For the officer of the watch, supporting master on the bridge can involve 3 watchkeeping activities. That is, when the vessel is underway during navigation, when the vessel is underway during drifting, and when the vessel is at anchor. So these are the 3 main occurrences where the officer of the watch can support the master on the bridge, not anywhere else on the ship. And so this will hopefully be true to the naval vessels as well, I guess. Probably only with the addition of extra vigilance that could be required on the combat aspect. and related equipment handling. So let's have a look at a few images of the navigation bridge layouts, just to get some idea for those who are here that are not directly involved and familiar with the navigation bridge of the vessel. I'll just share the screen. Can you see the screen?
It is loading up. Yes, sir. Now we can see a Roro carrier, NYK.
All right. Since you started my introduction mentioning as a master of Roros or car carriers, vehicle carriers, so this is a typical vehicle carrier. I normally sail on these ships, and this is the company I sail with, Wilhelmsen. This is one of the other ships as well. And this is a cross section or layout of a car carrier. Just for people who are curious. This is another one. You can see the ramps. One ramp here. This is how you unload and load the cargoes. Hope you can see this one.
Yes, Captain. Yeah, another way.
Yeah, this is
All
a,
look super.
yeah, this is also a bridge of a merchant vessel. I'll try to show you now a naval ship. So this is a photograph of the bridge of the naval vessel SLNS Sindhurala. Can you see this one?
Yes, Captain. Yes. It looks a bit different from our vessels.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
And pups.
Yes, it's a bit different in the sense like you don't see much of glaring screens, but I'm not sure whether they are available here. Probably yes. This is another view of the same ship bridge. You can see it's not that big. The bridge is not that big compared to the bridges of merchant vessels, but quite similar setup.
Yes, Captain. Very nice.
Going back to the topic, we can now understand, looking at those pictures and those glaring displays and all the equipment, what a lot of things expected from the officer of the watch, as he should be doing something with all those equipment and fancy displays. As a master, the best supporting activity that I would appreciate from any officer of the watch is following my instructions, especially keeping me informed and sharing his or her concerns when he's on duty. So when we look at the bigger picture, for any officer of the watch to extend his best support to any master, leaving aside what the master prefers, he or she should consider to be abiding by 5 more most important items. This is as per my view and my prioritizing. The first one I say is the company's standing instructions on bridge watchkeeping. Then it is the master's own special orders and standing orders that is available on the bridge. As number 3, I take the company's SMS on bridge procedures, or you can refer to the ICA's bridge procedure guide. Next comes the experience transfers and experience exchanges that are received time to time, which include avoiding actions or corrective actions. Last but not the least is the navigational rules. The first 4 items, other than the navigational rules, provide updated information reflecting current state of affairs, having the navigational rules as the base for all the compliances. And I strongly believe that even navigational rules also need to be revised and updated considering the current state of affairs, such as vessel types, vessel sizes, nature of work by vessels, the speed of vessels, offshore activities, and so on. Coming back to topic, I wish to clearly mention that supporting master is not always doing everything blindly just to please the master or just to be in the good looks. We all are aware of the grounding incident that took place off the coast of Mauritius involving a bulk carrier, its master and the officer of the watch. That is why it is of utmost importance that you not only refer to master but to protocols as well, and also take the references from company's SMS and other guidance such as experience transfers or experience exchanges. In doing that, you will definitely be supporting the master and a lot of more in a bigger way.
Captain Don, if I can take over a moment, I just want to address all the listeners that they can direct any questions that come up in the chat of the webinar itself. And now we are 20 minutes into the webinar. After another 10 to 15 minutes time, we will go for a Q&A sessions with 2 more experts. So it will be the time for you all to clear out the doubts you all have had on board on the vessels and when you were navigating as OWs. Back to you, Captain.
Okay, thank you, Mario. So this information on supporting master or how to keep a bridge watch, there is a lot of information available, countless amounts, study material, publications, literature, etc., etc. So instead of repeating all the same information that is already available, I'll try to highlight a few points and acts that I have experienced, and as per my view, they are not actually supporting the master. So as youngsters here, they can target not to repeat the same. What I find most important is the loss of vigilance by the OW. Loss of vigilance or the loss of situational awareness is very much related to other engagements on the bridge that can be related or not related to the ongoing watchkeeping activity. So whatever it is you are you're doing, please don't forget where your ship is at the moment, and also what kind of surrounding what kind of traffic condition is present, what responses are required, and so on. And then I see using a mobile phone, so don't let your mobile phone or the ship's internet signal or the availability of the shore mobile network signal distract you. Not maintaining a proper lookout is another problem that I noticed. if you are not engaged, or if you are engaged in something that requires your attention, even for a short while, and if you are not able to be continuously engaged on the lookout, so better you call a lookout person and have a designated lookout person. So it is, of course, the masters and the chief mates or the senior management's duty to have that kind of freedom available for the watchkeeping officer, so that he is free to call the lookout personnel or any other assistance as required. Then I say, I notice with all the many display screens and things on the bridge, the officer of the watch is forgetting to look out of the bridge windows and compare the displays to the physical objects or the targets. So it's visually looking out and identifying is also very important. And sometimes even worse is the officer of the watch doesn't find time or doesn't have the interest of walking to the bridge wings anymore, or it's very seldom they walk out to the bridge wing. So I can mention a lot of activities like this, even when there is not much of work involved on the bridge in the present days, where you don't have much of chart corrections, publication corrections like people had during the earlier years, which without all that. So, but people are now forgetting to do a lot of things, such as not setting proper CPA, TCPAs, or setting grounding vector or these look ahead function on the ECDIS, updating AI's information, dynamic data, ETA's status, drafts, etc., etc. So many things you can list down. Of course, they are not really deliberately done, but they are happening due to some forgetfulness or sometimes the loss of focus. So now we discuss that what is actually meant by supporting mast on the bridge, and also few actions that is not actually supporting or can be considered as undesired. Let's now discuss on how and when to speak up while complying with everything as required and not repeating the same mistakes we discussed. The solution is in a quality that you should nurture, and we call it assertiveness. Being assertive will allow you to be the best support that any master can imagine. Being assertive will also allow you to speak up. So how can we become assertive? Are we born assertive? Yes. You can see babies talk frank. Can we train and gain assertiveness into ourselves? Yes. Assertiveness is also can be a learned behavior and a thinking style. The level of your assertiveness will be your level of confidence, which means you need to know your stuff. ROR, companies, SMS, masters, instructions, experience transfers, and so on. So you need to familiarize yourself with what you are required and what is required from you. Your duties, responsibilities, etc., etc. The more you familiar yourself, and more you become confident. And when more confidence you gain with what is right and wrong, and what is to be done or should not be done, then the more confidence you get to speak up. Assertiveness is also your ability to stand up positively. I should say, I highlight the term positively, which means you already know what is right and required. You will train yourself to stand your ground when you are right or correct. That is meant by positive. When you know you are wrong and still want to defend your ego, then that is not positive. You need to train yourself on this. So assertiveness is also the ability to communicate politely and respectfully. When you communicate politely and respectfully, you don't create conflicts or aggravate situations. You need to train yourself on this, and you'll notice that automatically you will be building up your patience as well. So in a nutshell, we can say that assertive person knows what he needs to be doing or what he needs to be knowing. To maintain that, he'll try his best to keep up himself informed, learned and updated. It's a continuous process, or he will gain it as a habit. And when things don't seem right or the way it should be, this assertive person knows how to stand up and communicate in a nice way. What else do you think a master requires if the master has a person like this? However, it is the master who should set up the podium. The master should promote assertiveness on the bridge. Many masters do this, but some don't. As a master, I do this not only on the bridge, but everywhere on board the ship and with everyone on board. This way I gain to hear everybody's views and ideas and also get their contributions. However, I make sure that I make everybody understand that ship is not a democracy. That is required when running a happy and a safe ship. So how can we train ourselves to speak assertively? Before you speak, you need to know where you stand and what you represent. You should not be sitting on the fence. Your primary aim should be to maintain a good relationship during and after the conversation. Be aware of your body language, maintain a good eye contact, but not in a challenging way. Speak clearly, calmly, politely, and respectfully. Don't let your voice break and speak in a normal, even tone throughout. Avoid crossing arms, legs, and maintain your physical posture. Sit or stand straight, steady and direct facing. If you disagree, do it respectfully. If you receive compliments and praise, accept without minimizing yourself. So to summarize, how to support the master on the bridge: learn to be assertive. How and when to speak up: learn to be assertive. Assertiveness is one single quality in persons that needs to be trained and polished to operate a safe bridge. In a nutshell, assertiveness is respecting yourself as you are willing to understand and stand up for yourself and interest positively. I highlight the term positively. Being able to express your thoughts confidently, politely and respectfully. And I highlight the term politely and respectfully. Knowing when to speak without creating conflicts, but to achieve a win-win situation. While providing good eye contact, but not in an aggressive way. Able to listen without interrupting, not being aggressive or passive, as both reflect negative. And most importantly, learning, knowing what you should be knowing and doing, which will help to keep your self-confidence and maintain it. So that's it from my side, Mario, to how to support the master and how to speak up and when to speak up. So basically I say it is assertiveness.
Thank you, Captain. I kept on hearing this word assertiveness, which is the term all our junior officers, our youngsters, should keep on top of their head when they are in the bridge. They should be assertive. Yes, I totally agree. Thank you for that valuable input, Captain, and for your time. Bear with me and the buoys for a little while more. There are a few questions, some questions that came on the youth forum itself, and some directly towards me, and some now we have in this chat as well. Captain Don, there is a small question that was directed towards you during your speech. How now the question came as this: how does a OW increase the mannequin level when he feels he's not comfortable working alone in the bridge, navigating alone? So I think it's a simple enough question, but from a junior officer's point of view, it makes sense. Sometimes we know during daytime the OW is allowed to be the sole lookout and navigate the vessel, but he is allowed and he is authorized to call in his lookout or the wheelman or another officer to assist. So I think the question is about this. Captain Don?
Yes, Mario. It's a simple enough question involving a simple enough answer. But considering the juniors and with less experience, of course they must be wondering how, and sometimes when they are not quite comfortable in speaking out and requesting. Also, there is a case in certain ships with certain people. They are the senior management. They are more interested in maintaining the vessel, or they are in a fast track maintenance schedule, and sometimes they compromise the safety in navigation. But as I mentioned during my speech, it is the duty of the master and the chief officer mostly, because they are the ones who involve the management of the staff. They should have the officer informed and giving him the freedom to call the watchkeeper, additional watchkeeper, and any assistance as required. When you see practically, the assistance required is mostly calling a lookout, calling a helmsman, or calling the master. So if he is not comfortable or if he is not given or knowing how to call sometimes the question is the people are working somewhere else and he is not able to reach. So call the master. You can call the master anytime, whenever he is in doubt or need. Or
thank you very much. Captain Samarat Kodi, I have a question here on the chat, which is another aspect of similarity. The question is, as a young junior officer on board, how to establish proper hierarchy with the seasoned crew? People who have been sailing for a very long time. I believe the question is somewhat referring to the bosun or the salted LBs, and when they see a young chap coming in as a third mate and trying to do the cargo watch, and so there's a bit of a hierarchy, friction. Captain Samarat Kodi, what is your take? How to handle this? How to assert yourself that you are the junior officer, you are the officer of the watch, and the vessel is in your hands?
Yes, Mario. This I have experienced during my junior days as well, and I have been informed quite a few times by my junior officers when they sometimes give some instructions to the AB who is on the watch or somebody else. So mostly what they say is, I've been at sea for so many years and I know how to do. You don't need to tell me. I know what to do. Sometimes knowing what to do is not enough, because like I said earlier, when we receive experience transfers or exchanges and then we keep updating ourselves, so we come to know new things, and how to counteract certain incidents, prevent accidents. And then the officer of the watch himself has certain binding. He is responsible for the actions of his subordinates. So he should not surrender. He should take his authority. He should mention that he is in charge. He is the officer of watch. He is in charge, and if he is having trouble, of course, he's got the chief mate, or mostly is the chief mate. He normally speaks to or refers to, or if it's involving a bridge watchkeeping, he can even inform the master. But first, without escalating further, yeah.
I want to add on to this question. An immediate question came on when you were talking just now. It's similar. It's part of what we are talking now. It's about the engine being at the disposal of the OW. Right? In the rules, in the vocabulary, in our teaching, it said the engine is at your disposal. Right? But the question here from Dushan is that, is it really practically happening? Because in his experience he said it is not the case. So how does the OW get the engine if he and when he wants? How do you respond to this as an experienced master who's been running large vessels in time constrained environments? Captain Samara, to you.
Yes, this I've been experiencing quite many times. And quite recently as well. So sometimes we run on a very tight schedule, and we keep running to catch up our ETAs. And then of course there is traffic. There is some situation where you need to not only alter your course but alter your speed. So, and when you want to do that, sometimes the resistance is from the engine room. Sometimes the duty engineer he needs to inform the chief engineer and get his permission, but it is very seldom now, because now with these electronic engines and controls, so, and all the controls available on the bridge and all the parameters available to read by the OW. In most of the modern ships where I sail now, the officer of the watch himself is adjusting. But it is like pre-discussed, predetermined. During these locations, we may need to adjust speed. So how much? What is your room? Like we discuss, pre-plan, and we keep them informed, the engineers and the officers, so that the officer is free to alter the speed as well.
It's all balanced down to being assertive, being politely assertive.
Not only being assertive, but like I said earlier, setting up the podium is from the senior of management. So when you know your officer will require to adjust speed, so why don't you make that available for him? So you have to pre-plan and discuss with the engine department and all the required people.
Very, very positive outlook from a senior master. Thank you, Captain. It's nice to hear this kind of feeling from the command side as well. Thank you, sir. Now, your conversation, your delivery gave me a question that our juniors should remember. Captain, don't sound like I'm putting it to you. It's a question from my heart and my mind. When master takes over the con, or a senior officer takes over the con from a junior officer in the merchant setup, our junior should be clear about how to give the con and how to take it back, or when he is still in charge of the navigation, or whether he has given the watch. Most of our juniors are unclear when the master arrives on the bridge to have his cup of coffee, whether the master is in charge of the navigation now, or am I still in charge? So, can you take a half a minute to clear this up for us?
Yes, Mario. I experience this a lot. Whenever I come on the bridge, I'm mostly on the bridge, but when I go in front and look at the traffic and see look at the radar, what the actions is required or what is being done, the officer of the watch sometimes get the feeling that I may be I'm the one who is going to tell him what to do. So I myself make it very clear for all the OWs that until and unless I say clearly that I take over the con, it is the con is theirs. The conning is on their hand. And especially before arrival port or in certain traffic condition areas where I am there to assist. Until I take over the con, I only provide suggestions. And I'm happy to say sometimes the officers with the assertiveness, they inquire, sir, do I still have the con or you have the con? I said, no, this is my suggestion, so you do what you feel. So what is best for you? So that kind of freedom and assertiveness, of course, we have to build up in our juniors. And they should not at any time feel that the master is on the con when the master is on the bridge, or hesitate inquiring that.
Thank you, Captain. Yes, the junior officer should never be hesitant to inquire. He's not clear of any scenario like this. We are up in our time. We actually surpassed our allocated time by a few minutes, but I'm happy to say it was due to the interest of the questions. Captain Samarat Kodi, thank you very much for being part of this mini webinar and helping to groom and to educate, to improve our juniors so that they can take on the challenges of the seas with more confidence. So we are wrapping up for the day. Let's catch up again on a few weeks time, and I request from all of you gents, share this information with your colleagues, with your juniors, with your seniors. So this is a request I put out to you and before I close the day. Thank you again, gents, and all of you for coming and being part of this mini webinar. Have a good evening.